A former ICE official turned whistleblower is going to speak publicly today on Capitol Hill. The former official resigned roughly a week ago and is now set to detail to lawmakers what he calls a broken system. So let's go deeper. Live now to CBS News immigration correspondent Camila Montoya Galvez. Good to see you, Camila, on a Monday. What does this testimony reveal about what's happening on the inside of ICE?
Hi, Reed. As you underscored, a former senior ICE official who just left the agency roughly a week ago is set to testify in front of Congress to warn not only lawmakers but the American public that the immigration agency is now at risk of placing new recruits, new deportation officers onto the streets of American cities without the training and also courses and instruction that they need to carry out immigration enforcement in a legal and lawful way. We understand that this is somebody who was directly involved in the training of new ICE agents at the Federal Training Academy in Georgia. According to prepared remarks that we obtained on his testimony, he is expected to tell lawmakers, Reed, that without any additional reforms at ICE, quote, the agency will graduate thousands of new officers who do not know their constitutional duty, who do not know the limits of their authority, and who do not have the training to recognize an unlawful order. So,
you know what that's called? That is called on-the-job training. That's called on-the-job training, in which you have similar examples of what the average American citizen just doesn't have the ability to get anymore when it comes to these high-skilled, high-paying jobs, and has been flooded out of the system because so much employment or so many employees that come from other nations come to this country and has taken over them type of jobs that are high-skilled, high-labor jobs, and the individuals who are born in this nation, who are definitely citizens of this country, don't have the ability, because now that so many people have come in and attempted to get these jobs, the criteria for those jobs has gotten higher. Here you are, the Trump administration. What he's about to do with these new ICE agents is allow them to get on the job training.
it's a pretty striking testimony that we're expected to hear before Congress by this former ICE official. Democratic congressional officials are also slated, Reed, to release internal agency documents that they say show ICE has eliminated courses and training hours for new recruits who are hoping to become deportation officers, including courses and instruction related to the use of force by agents. ICE has, of course, Reed, come under intensifying criticism over its tactics and also its actions across the country under the second Trump administration, especially after the fatal shooting of Minneapolis resident Renee Good. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security, which of course oversees ICE, says that there has been no reduction in any training requirements, no elimination of those steps in the ICE officer training program. ICE said, quote, "It has streamlined training to cut redundancy and incorporate technology advancements without sacrificing basic subject matter content. Under the new requirements and improvements, candidates still learn the same elements and meet the same high standards ICE has always required." The administration, of course, Reed, has said it is planning on onboarding 10,000 new additional officers.
Okay, so that's enlightening to look at the onboarding process and some of the conversations and rules that happen throughout that process. But we also understand you have some reporting out of Texas, a case in Texas where we're learning about ICE's involvement in a fatal shooting. What do you know?
So before we get on to the fatal shooting that happened in Texas, you got to think about this, right? You got to think about from the perspective, that it's lives that may be placed in jeopardy from a lack of training, but these officers are definitely going to have a supervisor or a superior out there to watch them. These new individuals are definitely not going to go out there by themselves. They are going to go out there with somebody who has some rank. And in addition to that, these individuals who go out there who have a little bit more rank, who have a little bit more experience, you're just not going to have new officers going out there to not be up under some type of supervisions, to be directed to go out there and get people from the streets, basically, I'm going to say, are from the jails, right, who are not going to be supervised by some type of superior. New officers don't do that. I don't care what the police force or the police department you work for. You are not just about to go out there into the streets because you got to think about something. We're talking about people who have uh, what they are acting under federal law. These individuals who act under federal law have the opportunity for it to come back on the government, the federal government in this matter, and for the federal government to actually get sued for any wrongdoings which happens to anyone when it comes to the use of force, an arrest, anything that is under that they can be liable for under the color of federal law. These individuals will be supervised. They won't just go out there on the streets inexperienced. The only inexperience that they will have is being new officers out there, but they won't be out there, I should better state, being supervised. This in issues like this, I don't care what job you go to, you always going to have some type of on the job training. You see it with like the sheriffs in the county jail. You see it. It just happens on the street. I mean, it just happens within the police force where that on the job training. There's nothing going to be able to beat that on the job training to get over the chill factor that comes with being in the role that they're in, the responsibility of being in the role that they're in.
Yes, Reed. 23-year-old Ruben Ray Martinez of Texas was killed last year in an officer-involved shooting. At the time, it was reported that this man had died, a U.S. citizen had died.
You see that? So this is before the officers even got out there on the street. These new 10,000 officers have even got there on the streets. So this happened with officers who they claiming are going to be more experienced. Yeah, I mean, more experienced in terms of training than the new officers that are going to come out here right now. These new 10,000 officers that's going to hit the streets with regards to finding illegal immigrants who are in this country illegal, particularly those who are with violent crimes, those who are a threat to public safety. This individual was killed, and excuse me, may he rest in peace, before these 10,000 officers even came out.
But ICE's involvement in the fatal shooting had not been disclosed, Reed, until this week, nearly 12 months after that fatal shooting. An internal ICE report that seems to correspond with the fatal shooting of Martinez alleges that the shooting started after Martinez allegedly ignored instructions from ICE agents who were helping local police direct traffic, and that he struck, allegedly, one of the ICE agents. After that, according to the report, another ICE agent fired into Martinez's vehicle, fatally shooting him and obviously killing him. He was pronounced dead at a local hospital. It is the latest publicly reported death of a U.S. citizen, allegedly at the hands of federal immigration agents. Of course, in January, many.
See, that's one reason why I say, man, you got to stay away from these protests, because one thing that has been psychologically proven, or psychologically proven when it comes to working in the crowd, it only takes one or two people to set the whole crowd off. Once one or two people end up, like if some people end up starting to get loud, starting to want to be very disruptive and disrespectful towards the officer, you begin to get a crowd of people that begins to do the same thing. That I forgot it's the effect that is called, but it's a particular effect that when you see a group of people, if you go with a group of people and two or three people just begins to go off or do something bad that starts to damage property, here you go, you're going to have the crowd, you're going to see it begins to spread within the crowd. Just like when they was talking about the burning of the American flag, how Trump was talking about the burning of the American flag begins to cause chaos, and that it should not be allowed be allowed in terms of freedom of speech, because what ends up happening is when you start burning that flag, it becomes violent. The protest becomes violent in that, yeah, you shouldn't be allowed in public to burn the American flag. I don't know no other country you can do that with regards to in the first place. If you go anywhere else, you burn the American flag. You burn their flag, you gonna go to jail. So this is an issue where they are making an attempt to stop these officers from getting out here, being inconcerned with that, right? But at the same time, what you got to recognize, besides all that, is that these individuals, these ICE officers, are coming.
Minneapolis residents Renee Good and Alex Preddy were killed by ICE and Border Patrol agents, respectively. In a statement, DHS said that the ICE agent in question, Reed, fired, quote, defensive shots, but Texas State Democratic lawmaker Ray Lopez told us that he's not fully convinced that fatal and deadly force was justified in this incident, and he's demanding a public hearing. Meanwhile, lastly, Martinez's mother told us that she's looking for justice, Reed, and answers.
Camila Montoya Galvez will follow that through its conclusion. Thank you so much. Good to talk to you.
So definitely you can see that these individuals, they are definitely coming. LA is quiet right now when it comes to this whole issue with regards to ICE. It pops up every now and then, but best believe you me that they are out here doing the research that they need, gathering the intelligence that they need to come out here. And there's only one reason why you should consider that Trump is not going to set LA back. Set LA back in terms of his promise to, first of all, deliver a good World Cup, and secondly, to deliver a good Olympic Games, which are both coming to the city of Los Angeles. So if you think that they're not coming, it's either that or we lose those two opportunities for the economy of the city. So it's either you buckle up and prepare for these individuals to get here, prepare and understand that they are out here right now doing the intelligence that they need to come out here and collect. Man, in Los Angeles, in the Southwest, when you think about Arizona, when you think about Los Angeles, when you think about San Diego, when you think about Orange County, you had got to believe that it is going to be a show. Tiny Cross-H.U.G on a Trumped Up Live show. Always remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. And always remember as well, man, listen, I hate to say it at this point, but in terms of education and educating you with regards to what's about to happen, it is a good day to be a soldier.